Bow down, 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 bow down, 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 down. Ah, yes, Joe Walsh. What do y'all know about Joe Walsh?
Oh man, now I gotta pee. Oh well.
Now I gotta pee. You got any gum? Tonight's episode of What in the Actual Funk is Funk 49 is going on here. Turtles of Grayskull will be seen at a different time to bring you this shitty podcast.
Welcome to For Music Lovers Only, a podcast where each host makes a top 5 list of their favorite songs from this week's topic. Each week is a new topic. Tune in, I dare you. Music Lovers Only.
What is up, everybody? How are you doing, Casey? Mr. Coach, and AL, which stands for
Al. It was Al Bundy's picture behind me now.
Al
you walked
Bundy.
away and I switched it. It was just,
you're switching up Skin Man. I was gonna give Skin Man, Bucket Skin Man, a huge shout out.
I know he's back there still. He was in for some reason he's feeling camera shy tonight, so he pulled Al's picture in front of him, and so Al Bundy's hanging out with us tonight.
I get it.
Man, I kind of
What's up, everybody?
that we're canceling. Actually, I don't know if will you be able to send that to the podcast that we're playing instead of.
Oh yeah, that was some pretty wild stuff, but we'll get into that in a minute. We are For Music Lovers Only. Me and Casey, me and Mr. Coach here. I keep trying to call you Casey, but everybody's like, "Who the fuck is Casey?" And I try not to cuss, but I'm cussing here. But Coach, we are the only music lovers left in the entire world. We're here to bring you great music from Joe Walsh tonight, and hope that maybe we can convert some of y'all to music lovers and not music haters.
Yeah, I hate music. Love music.
I hate music. But yeah, I seen that today. The Turtles of Grayskull.
Yeah, that's awesome. I want to.
And they have some of the morphs up. I should have. I could share it here if we got time at the end. I'll bring it up and show you some of the characters they've already got designed and getting ready to come out. It's I don't know. I'll give it a try. I mean, I think they only showed a few because there seems like there should be more.
Well, I'm in.
But what's funny is I just the promo I've been working on all day. I just sold all my Turtles and all my He-Man stuff to them a couple years ago. They pay real good money for old vintage toys and resell them. Great cool stuff. Mo Pigs, collectibles, and custom paint. Check them out.
Oh yeah, go Mo Pigs.
Mo Pigs. Once maybe next week we'll play the video, play the promo.
Got to get permission first, even though you made it. Oh,
I'm gonna let him drop it first. So
yeah, exactly.
Give him the honors.
So what you been up to since last week, man?
Took yesterday off. The kiddo was off school. Mom had a little surgery that may or may not be minor. I mean, it was a minor procedure, and hopefully, as everything comes out good with that, she's home and not a little sore, but not too bad. Yeah, definitely. She's a tough old broad, so
yeah, I get you.
She gets a little worried about things.
Moms have been through some shit.
Yeah. She gets worried about things. And I mean, especially with her old age, it's really, I had to ground her. A few times already this month. And
I understand.
Just making silly decisions with things around the house. And it's like, Mom, come on, stop.
What do that.
Use your common sense here. That's not the problem. But yeah, Tretta stayed with her last night and took her up there. Me and the kid just hung out, and I started working on her. We bought her costume last weekend. She wanted to be Joker.
Okay.
And I didn't want to just buy, she didn't care, but I didn't want, her to be walking around if I see a kid with the exact same freaking costume she had, And I was kind of trying to talk her into being like a girl Joker, but she's like, no, I want to be the Joker. I'm like,
okay. The regular Joker, there's not a girl Joker, Dad.
Yeah. So we got a wig. I had to work on shaping that, and then I ended up buying a pimp suit, but it had the leopard on the pockets and then the lapel.
Had to turn them green.
Yeah, so I painted them green. I got it's fluorescent, so hopefully when we're trick or treating, we'll come across the black light.
Oh yeah.
But I think I'm gonna bring
one with you and shine it on her every once in a while.
Yeah. Maybe like I said, I don't know. I thought about it, a big flower with shooting water, but I know she would abuse that.
Okay.
The kid she goes with, he might be able to take a joke once, but if he's sitting there getting squirted a lot,
yeah, he'd be flipping out.
He's gonna be punching her back. They fight like brother and sister as it is. They get pretty rough. It's fun until somebody gets hurt. He's a couple years younger, and Joe's, just she's finally about normal size, just because she's always been big for her size, and she kind of slowed down and growing into her body a little bit.
Yep, I get you.
So, yeah.
All right. Well,
how about you?
What are we jamming this week, man?
Huh?
What are we here for this week?
We're here to talk about Joe Walsh.
All right.
Yeah, we're gonna do our top 5 favorite Joe Walsh songs. And like I said, he was born here in Wichita. Did not stay very long. I mean, he was young when his family moved him to Ohio, then to New York, and then a couple other places. Ended up back in Ohio, and that's the connection between Wichita and Ohio is kind of the reason I was always drawn to him, because my dad was from Ohio and of course moved here, and we've been here, and we used to go back to Ohio every other summer, and it's a whole different world. You think we're here in the Bible Belt. It's really super Bible-y up there.
Bible-y.
Oh man, it's
Bible-y country. Yeah.
Oh, man.
All right.
Amish, really thick with the Amish and the apples.
Well, I had text you or messaged you or whatever. It admitted, I guess I didn't know how big of a Joe Walsh fan I was. You gave me this assignment on Wednesday or something like that, and I started doing some research, and you know a lot of, or a bunch of the stuff. Then you start going like, holy shit, like
until you
a
like
lot of songs that I really like, and new ones, songs that I didn't know I like. And like I said, you said your dad was an Eagles fan, and mine may have or may have not been, but I don't think he was a big one, because I knew who his big bands were. And it was, we jammed that shit. I remember driving down the road to the rock stations and listening to, the top 4 or 5 that were the radio ones. But, it wasn't until high school or a little later on, or, that I found more of his stuff, Yeah.
I don't think my dad hated any band. I think he loved,
they always have ones that are, like I said, I don't think my dad hated him, but he just always had more favorites.
Yeah. He was into a lot of things. I remember it came to a point where, I was turning him on to music, and that was cool. That was like the biggest accolade, biggest, bond for me and my dad was when he was like, oh, wow, I like that, and I was like, payback. Yes. But yeah, you want to go first with your big pile of Joe Walsh songs? Like I said, until you put it into and sit there and look at all of the stuff he's done, because the 70s, he was a busy mofo.
Well, and like with me, I tried, as always, there's always the best songs, the ones that you are the most famous or whatever, but I tried to kind of go to the ones that were maybe my more favorites of the favorites. And with Petty, or whatever, I was able to pull some more obscure ones, and a lot of times we can, but some of these are more obscure, or not even know. There's not a lot of his that are obscure, but you know what I mean.
There was a lot of stuff that probably didn't see much love or the light of day.
But most of my, or 1 or 2 of mine are, a radio song or a movie song, or you know what I mean. So
yeah.
Anyways, number 5 of mine was one of his a newer one from the Analog Man album, and it was One Day at a Time.
Yeah,
and it was it was right after he got sober, and I remember the first time I heard that one, it was his concert version, and he said, this song got written because I gave up my best friend, vodka, and then everybody kind of laughs, and he goes, oh, that, it's funny. And then it goes into the song, and so it's pretty damn good song.
I think, like I said, almost every interview after he got sober, a good portion of it was talking about him being sober. I wonder if he got tired of talking about it, or if he was always the one that was talking about it.
That's hard to know. Yeah, I didn't like usual, I probably didn't do as many articles as you. I read a bunch of stuff, but a bunch of it was the older stuff when he was partying.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, I've been really, really digging interviews just because you get to hear it from their own voice, you know. I mean, so I've been really enjoying the interviews.
oh yeah, I need to do more of it. I need to come out here in the studio and just sit out here and do it, or just when I'm watching on my phone instead of watching,
Taking a poop.
Yeah. Well, just hell, when we're sitting there watching TV, half the time I'm watching my phone instead of watching dumb videos or whatever, listening to podcasts. I need to listen to some more interviews or listen to some podcasts that have some of those guys on them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what I've been trying to do, is get more, on my show. And I think we're trying to do it on here, is get more musicians to do the show, to have that kind of inside view, and maybe do a little bit of an interview / get their songs from them while we're doing it,
Definitely.
So my number 4 was from So What, 1974. It's Falling Down.
Good one.
Which, man, that song, I didn't actually look into what the kind of the meaning behind that song was, but I did just, when you listen to that song, just, making no deposit, no return, making the same mistakes, we never learn, all of those faces trying to show concern, just starts right. It just, I don't know. Good song, man.
Yeah.
So,
deep, little deeper than, I mean, I think all of them were deep. They were, just so simple.
Yeah. Some were just party. I don't know about party songs, but we're just jamming it out songs. And some were, there's really something going on there when he wrote that one,
Yeah.
So good song. Number 3, from There Goes the Neighborhood, 1981. And this is probably one of the ones that'll go into the more famous ones, but it's Life of Illusion.
You bastard. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm still using it.
Well, okay.
We don't have to play by them rules.
Yeah, I knew that one was gonna be one, but man, that song's just another one like that, dude. It's like deep as shit, but also the guitar in that one is insane. Like, I don't know.
It takes you on a journey, from beginning to end, and then if you don't walk away from listening to it, feeling like whoa, a little.
At one point, I did have that song as my number 2, and could have been even 1, but just because it was maybe, and again, that's not a radio song. I mean, I don't know if I've ever heard that song on the radio, maybe, but not that
I can't remember where I first listened to it. So
yeah, I don't know, but I don't know that I've ever, maybe back in the day it was a radio song, but it's not one of his ones that even today that they, on the oldie station or whatever that they play, it's one of the top 10 songs or whatever, so, but I did notice when I watched a video of that one, how many views, and it's like, okay, well, that one is a little more famous than I thought. I always thought it was one of my obscure secret songs. So number 2, which is just a funky song, and it's from You Bought It, You Name It, Space Age Whiz Kids. Man, it's just a funky song all the way through, and talking about driving his Chevy, and it's like I don't know, man, like just a fun.
There's another one that almost made my list on that one. What is it? ILBT.
Yep. Yep.
No, I hope that wasn't your number 1, but
nope, that's not on there. That's okay.
That's a great song for what it is and the story behind it. It was to the point. What year did that album come out?
I didn't actually write that one down.
I don't think I have that one on here, but it was far enough along that the record companies weren't even listening to the albums. They, he was just, forced to crank them out. He had to get them done. They didn't care if it was good, bad, or whatever. They needed an album. So he, did the name the way he did it, and put it at, like the back of the, the back of the list or in the middle somewhere, and then sent the stuff off to the record company. Record company's like, yep, stamped it, approved, and sent it out.
Yep.
And then 3 months after it got released, they were like, oh, wait, what? You can't do that. And he's like, well, you should have listened to the album,
no shit,
before you released it 3 months ago.
It was 1983, by the way.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. Like I said, there was some songs on there. I tried listening to that after that because that, like I said, there's 2 or 3 on that album that are real good, and then some where you can kind of tell he just mailed it in or
Yeah.
out of spite or whatever. But like that one, I even think was one of those spite songs when he first wrote it. Sorry, that it turned out just freaking good because it had like it was just I don't know. Out of everything I listened to, I don't know if there was any song that he did that was quite like that song. Just the way the music was played, and I don't know.
Yeah.
So kick-ass song, and I didn't even, I guess, realize how much I liked it until recently, and I've listened to it about 15 times. So, my number one's probably I don't know if it's a top 5, but for sure a top 10, and it was from James Gang Rides Again, and it was used in such movies as Rounders, Detroit Rock City, Joe Dirt, the Dogtown and Z Boys freaking documentary. And was just to me the song that probably got me into him, which is why I don't care if it's a top song. I mean, it is a top song because it's one of my favorites, but Funk number 49. Probably one of the, for our age, for sure, one of the most iconic Joe Walsh songs, or if not, to me, the most iconic Joe Walsh song.
Yeah, definitely. That was 70, right? Because
yeah, and what's crazy is I don't know if it was as famous then as it was when everybody started using it for, like I said, Rounders. And
it definitely was very popular from the get-go. That was like their only hit, I think, that the first album, like I said, it, Cleveland area is where James Gang came about. And so, I mean, there was so many variations of the band until they finally settled on a 3-piece with Joe and 2 other guys. And I think they even interchanged a little bit throughout the 4 years because it's like 69. And the first album, Jason basically was just playing cover songs. And then, they didn't have any cover songs on it before they recorded it. They were just playing cover songs, and in the middle they'd be jamming out, just some weird shit, and they'd go, okay, they mental note that, and that's kind of how the name Funk 49 came.
Yeah, because they were just writing them down in notes, and that was a riff that they came up with at that time. Let's go back to this and explore it later. And
like I said, that came on their second album, which gave them a hit song, and then they did one more album, Thirds, with Joe Walsh. They kept going on after Joe left to go be with the Eagles.
Okay.
And so I think, I mean, without Joe, it was, it's like,
I couldn't name a song from them without Joe Walsh.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't name very many of the, even with him, James Gang, except for like the Funk 49, and there's like Ashton, a shit ton park or something like that. I think it's a real funky one. I think it's on their first album, I believe. Your album. But yeah, good list.
I put on there, like I said, obviously which I don't want to name all after I guess you go, I'll name all the most, obviously ones everybody knows, but like I said, they were just, I don't know, man. You don't realize how much somebody meant to your music.
Did you have an honorable mention?
Oh, I won't, just because I already stole one of your songs, and sorry, my threat protection kicked in there.
Oh no, we're a threat. Well, my honorable mention was the Sonic Highway album of the Foo Fighters, because Joe Walsh was an honorary member of Foo Fighters. I think he's
telling me that, and I didn't even know that.
And it was the song Outside, which again, I'm not a huge Foo Fighters fan. I mean, I get into their songs, but I don't listen to them much. And I mean, I like Dave just because he's Dave Grohl.
Fuck yeah, he rocks.
But he did this song, happened to be in LA, and said, "Hey man, your guitar would be powerful with it." And so they recorded. And I think Joe was like, "Yeah, just put me in the middle somewhere, though, So I don't know how much. I mean, there's definitely one part that is definitely Joe Walsh, and kind of like towards the end, but I don't know. There's other parts in the kind of laced in the middle that could be Joe, so I don't know exactly. But
we'll have to try to find a live one or something to watch where we can tell.
Yeah, maybe I didn't look for a video. I was just doing my Spotify research. I know everybody hates Spotify, but it's so convenient.
If I paid for it, I would like it. I hate the free one.
Yeah, I definitely. I couldn't do the free one.
I do, and it sucks. For podcasts, it's fine, but for fucking music, it sucks.
Yeah.
Fix that, Spotify.
Come on now. Come on. Get it fixed. Get your lives together.
Thanks
Speaking of lives, my number 5 is Live My Life Again. That was James Gang. That was 71. So that was that was Rides Again. 71. Or no, that was Thirds. The third album was 71, and that's when he left.
Okay.
And like I said, he left because he was having to do all the writing, all the singing. He was the only guitar.
Well,
melody. I mean, I think the drummer played piano a little bit in some songs, but obviously live he couldn't play both. So, he left them and moved to Denver, Colorado, up in the Rocky Mountains, and wrote obviously one of his big songs. But that one is a good one, but didn't make my list.
Okay.
Number 4 is Slow Dancing off of the Confessor album, which is a
kick-ass album.
It's kind of dark, I mean, It's got a lot of darker guitars and darker lyrics and stuff, but
which is up your alley.
Oh yeah, definitely. And that's one album I didn't really even know existed until we went down this rabbit hole. So
okay,
that's part of the fun of it.
Fuck yeah, man.
Number 3, like I said, Dad was, like I said, I don't know if he was a huge fan. He had albums, but he enjoyed the Eagles for sure. And that's another band that you don't realize how many songs they have that you like. You're like, oh crap.
Holy shit. That's what I said. I clicked on that, man. And it's just, you just go down 20 songs looking for an obscure song. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's like crazy.
Well, Joe, when he went to Denver, he started a solo album with, had Rocky Mountain Way.
Yep.
And
which he always did with them too, so kind of became an Eagles song,
there was a few that probably got overlaced that I think both get credit for.
Yeah.
There was one that had an interesting story. It didn't make my list, but like I said, he was busy. He had 69 through 71 was James Gang. James Gang, he was, they were playing with who was it? They played with Keith Moon. Keith Moon is kind of where they were over in England, I think, doing a thing. And Keith Moon took him under his wing, and he became his mentor for that tour. And I hate to throw Milligan on the bus, but he was kind of like a Milligan.
Okay.
I mean, Bonham just, crazy, just kind of, what was, God dang, it's going to bug me. Anyways, but took him under I couldn't think of a movie that had a cliff in it. It was
Zach in your head, and I have no clue, man.
Oh yeah, I can't think of it. But anyway, this character was very. I mean, let's party, And I mean, once he, you made eye contact with him, you were his buddy, and you were partying. No matter what, you're gonna die. There's a good chance you're gonna die. And so that's how.
That was me and you partying growing up.
Yeah. I mean, Milligan definitely took over when we started partying again.
Oh, I missed him, man. He was one of my man. Me and him worked at McDonald's together when I was like 15 or 16. Yeah. I think I was the first one that brought him into the group.
Yeah.
Man, he was a crazy cat, man.
Oh man, yeah. Like I met him right after the cancer got killed up, all the chemo and stuff. So he was just growing his hair back is when.
Yeah, he was dating Jessica Lewis, and we all worked at fucking McDonald's. We were getting in trouble and doing bad stuff we shouldn't been doing. At work and having a blast.
Man, it was fun. It was fun.
Oh yeah. All right.
But that goes along with Life in the Fast Lane, which is my number 3.
Fuck yeah, man.
And like I said, I mean, that was his the Eagles' Joe Walsh song. And like I said, he learned all the partying, the hotel trashing and stuff from Keith Moon Keith Moon. I said Bonham earlier, but Keith Moon is the Who drummer.
Uh-huh.
So Keith Moon, which was, still an insane character, of just partying and insanity, trashing hotel rooms.
Yeah, all those
guys. you can't deny that lick when it kicks in. I can't play it right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Life in the Fast Lane. My number 2 was maybe a little more obscure. This was his first solo album, Barnstorm and Turn to Stone.
Oh man, I listened to that today, dude.
Yeah. And it's real good.
Yeah.
And
that might have been one of my honorable mentions if I would have had one.
I think it was, if I remember right, it was kind of about Nixon and then kind of how everybody, you know, all the government, the politicians turned their back on Vietnam.
Yep.
Is I think that's what he said it was about. That was on that article.
I read that one because I think that was actually where it was at when you sent it to me. So I knew that was going to be one of the songs on your list. No.
And then my number 1, like you said, Life of Illusion, which, you know, it's for me, definitely, it is hard to, you know, I mean, once you go down the rabbit hole, you can't unsee things. And I mean, right, wrong, or indifferent, you know, I've put the glasses on, so I see the world a different way. A lot of people think I'm an idiot, but, you know, hey, there's Joe Walsh here in 81 saying that, no, I'm not an idiot. It's been this fuck since the beginning. So,
yep. Man,
you're okay. Just do your thing.
Just stay on your path, man. You'll be okay. Life's got a plan for you, man. Yeah, dude, that song. That's what I said. My wife even's like, what's that? You know, I don't think she'd ever heard it. And, you know, she's not a, you know, anti rock and roll, but not a big rock and roll person. Yeah. And she was sitting out there this morning with me while I was doing research. And, you know, I'd played that one jamming home the other night at work. And, you know, kind of forgot that was one of those ones I had on one of my mixtapes when I was, you know, 20 or 18 or 19 or whatever. So, yeah. And I mean, obviously, like for me, you know, ordinary average guy. I mean, just the fucking rip on that. And you know, obviously you said Rocky Mountain Way earlier, and Life's Been Good to Me So Far. Take It Easy. I mean, like they're just, you could go down 1,000 ones, and you know, if you hit best of and play, you could get 25 songs into Joe Walsh shit before you would want to skip one. You know what I mean? So,
well, what was
I don't know if there's a lot of other artists, honestly, out there that you could probably see. I mean, there's 10 or less that you could say that about. To me, I mean, there's people that have their favorite bands, you know, that could do that. Yeah. But I mean, what I'm saying, I just, like I said, I could go long ways down, and there's not a ton of even bands I like. There's songs that I don't like, you know. So we did a show on that one time.
Life's Been Good to Me. I think that when they were picking around, I can't remember. But they were picking around, and he kind of wrote the lyrics, and he didn't like them, so he was going to change them. And the guys are like, hey, you know, he's like, no. He's like, well, it's kind of campy, you know, it's kind of, you know, he's like, yeah, that's great. And so that song, he was really nervous of how it was going to be perceived. He was like, it's either going to be the worst song ever written in the history of, you know, which is, you know, probably
Take Me Under, or
that's probably a common thought with all creative types about all of their work. But he said that was definitely one, and then obviously that wasn't the case. It was well perceived. And, and I think that was a hit from the get go.
That's what I said, man. I don't know.
And another one I didn't. I mean, I knew the song. I think it's this was one that the Eagles had redone because In the City.
Yep,
that was supposed to be on The Warriors.
Okay,
remember the movie The Warriors, which you know, up until a couple years ago, everybody forgot about, and then now it's kind of
cult classic thing.
Yeah, hit the pop scene, you know, the culture, and so it's been. But it was not a well received movie, and got no love. But he was friends with a guy, some director or somebody involved with it. And he's like, I want you to write this song. I need Joe Walsh on this soundtrack. And so Joe, kind of wrote the music for it. And then they both sat down reading the script and wrote the lyrics. And so they, the movie came out. They put it on that soundtrack. It was a great fucking song, but got no love because it was only on that soundtrack. So the Eagles got together, which, I mean, Eagles, all of them are very talented. But I mean, I'm biased to Joe. So I think
with Joe, they're better.
Yeah, I don't think they could be the Eagles without Joe.
No,
and
so they had some good. Yeah, I don't. Like I said, Joe. Yeah, I don't. Like I said, I don't I don't even consider one without the other.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
and I think that was one of the main driving forces for him to finally get sober. Is they reunited like in the
Yeah, when
80s
they
or something.
because didn't they kick him out? Or something?
They just kind of quit. They didn't really break up. They just kind of quit. Is the
They
way they
were
all
like
say it.
mother effer for a while, man.
Oh well, yeah. And I mean, he had kind of realized that it was the end, and this all came about, and so he was like, "Okay, I'm gonna quit." And so I mean,
well, if they ever come close, me and you got to figure out. Of course, God, I don't know how much that money's would be, but to go to a concert, man, because I hear one of the radio stations I listen to, the dude talks about going to the concerts all the time, and I'm like, what a loser! You've been to 15, and now I'm like, fuck, man, I want to go to one. Like, I don't realize how bad I want to go to a Eagles concert. I don't know if they're done playing or getting ready to be done playing, but
I think they did like a live album just pretty recently. I think.
okay, all right. So we get
So I
another
don't know if
until they
there's
start
one.
dropping. We get a little bit longer of them.
Yeah. Just
All right.
start emailing them. All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on. Thank you. Great list.
Awesome. Yours too, man. I had a blast like always.
Yeah. And so we'll come up with something for next week and play it by ear. If we're gonna be pre-recording or whatever, we'll figure it out. And
yeah, we'll get together and get something planned, man.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in, Jana. She said she loved that movie. How recently did you watch it though? I'll get with you after the show though. Have a good night.